Today, I'm going to teach you how to organize your time into blocks for maximum focus on the things that matter the most. I'll show you how I time block my calendar to make sure I can achieve my goals in my business while still being a great husband and father, never missing any of my kids' events, serving in my church, and getting enough sleep and exercise. Do you know what causes you to lose the most amount of deep focus time during a normal workday? Maybe chatty coworkers, office drama, email? It's not any of that. It's constant task switching. And let me share with you the day where I noticed this for the first time. So I am generally a fairly calm person. I don't get worked up too often, and I usually just like to keep to myself. One day, many years ago at work, I was in the middle of testing a new set of functionality that my team was building. I was focused, I was loving it, and I was finding a lot of good bugs and problems with the software. Trying out the software and finding bugs was one of my favorite parts of the job. And as I was writing down a new issue, I got a message from my boss. As I read it, I started to groan in my head. The recent release had broken something for a really important customer, and I needed to go and head over to another room where people were trying to figure out how to fix it. For the next hour, I spent my time multitasking, constantly switching between different tasks, like checking different builds of the software, testing the fix, reproducing problems, talking to the engineers, and I could feel that my irritation was starting to build. But at the end of it, we got the fix out for the customer. I heaved a sigh of relief, and I headed back to my desk to get back to testing the new features. Except I couldn't get into it again. A coworker came up to me and started telling me a story about their kid. I got another message from an engineer asking a question about a bug that I had logged, and I spent the rest of the day distracted, trying to test and get work done, but constantly checking and responding to messages and emails. I was unable to get back into flow, and I went home kind of disappointed. I hadn't gotten the work done that day that I needed to, and I was frustrated. And it wasn't until later that I figured out why. One of my mentors, Darren Hardy, taught me the concept of frenetic energy. When we spend time switching back and forth between tasks, we create frenetic energy in our brains. And as that frenetic energy builds and builds, our ability to do deep, focused work is depleted. 2 hours of hectic, frenetic work had left me depleted and frustrated. Studies suggest that knowledge workers switch tasks every 3 to 10 minutes, while other studies indicate that it can take upwards of 20 minutes to get into deep focus and flow. So what does that mean? It means that if you are constantly switching tasks, you are probably never getting into deep focus and flow because you switch to another task before you get there. And this is a huge problem, especially if you're a knowledge worker. Deep, focused work is the foundation of your progress and growth. If you cannot focus deeply, then the quality of your work suffers. And not only does the quality of your work suffer, the constant task switching actually raises your level of stress through the roof. Spend an hour checking your email every 5 minutes while working on writing a document, and pay attention to how your brain feels and how your heart starts to beat faster and your breathing becomes more erratic. I've been there a number of times, and it took me a while to figure out the best answer to this problem. So what is the answer? It's time blocking. Rather than constantly switching around, checking email, checking messages while trying to work on something important, you have to block out time for your most important tasks and tune out distractions. So what does this look like? It's actually pretty simple. It looks like putting everything onto your calendar with these 4 rules. Rule number 1 is to block out the best times of day first, so that others cannot plan things over them. Find those slots where you are best at focusing and then defend them. Reserve these time slots for your most important tasks. I have a time slot first thing in the morning that is the best time of the day for me to think and focus. Nothing gets scheduled over it ever. Second is to schedule time with your family and your kids next. Don't let them get squeezed out. For me, this is in the evening. After 5 p.m., it's time for my family. The third thing is to schedule time for exercise, rest, and recovery. And then everything else fits around that, and it's important to make sure that you keep everything in one column. No overlapping, no double booking. You can decline and move things around if you end up being double booked. So let's contrast the story at the beginning with a recent example I had of a time-blocked day. I woke up as my alarm went off. I stretched, I smiled, and I got out of bed to get ready for the day. As I let the warm water from the shower wash over me, I thought through the time blocks I had finalized the night before, and I thought about the scripts that I needed to write for YouTube videos. After I was done showering, I got dressed and I headed downstairs to begin working. Time flew by as I got into the zone, focused, and I started to write. It was incredible. I knocked out 3 video scripts in just 90 minutes. I'm getting a lot better at this, I thought to myself, and I felt a rush of accomplishment as I finished that focus session and moved on with my day. Remember, block out your best times for deep, focused work and then defend them. Don't let others schedule over them so that you can do your most important work at the best times of the day for you. This is how you get more important things done with greater focus and greater effectiveness. Put your family on the calendar next, then schedule time for yourself to exercise, rest, and recover. Finally, if you still have space, you can put in other, less important tasks and meetings, but those should only be used to fill in the cracks in your day, and you should leave some breathing room for yourself. Comment down below with what times of day you focus the best, and start to block that time out. This is hands down the best way to align your time with your priorities for greater focus, less distraction, and less procrastination. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and like, subscribe to the channel, and share with somebody else.